Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zach's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Scott Ellam, who's CEO at Connecting Excellence. How are you today, Scott?
Hi, Zach. How are you doing?
Right. We spoke, it was Happy New Year. We spoke a few weeks ago, just before you got on to the Aquis market. You've been there about a month. How was the experience and what's going on?
Yeah, Happy New Year. Yeah, the experience has been great. We've obviously had a lot of preparation in 2025 across the operating business, our flagship company, Spencer Riley, the executive recruitment company, and then XCE, Connecting Excellence Group, which is taking the group forward with the Bitcoin treasury strategy combined with the headhunting company's operational growth. So busy year. We went through that IPO and so far, I suppose we look to raise 1.5 as a minimum. We were several times oversubscribed on the wrap and we entered with 3.3 million. So we've made some Bitcoin purchases since, 2 Bitcoin purchases. So yeah, it's been good. We've gone from the 9.27 Bitcoin that we bought over the last 4 years as an operational business, and we're now currently holding 41.36 Bitcoin. So it's been a busy time, but quite fortunate for us, I suppose. We've got an average purchase cost on those of $80,000, and the price has risen up to $95,000 just recently. It's a long-term play for us, but it's nice to have a firm start. So yeah, it's been some big changes over the last few weeks, and we're ready to get started and get going.
Right. What was interesting to me was the launch of the BTC denominated convertible bond. Maybe you can tell us about that, what it means.
Yeah, of course. So the business model, the operational growth, we've got the talent attraction model to bring in revenue generating talent and groups to the businesses. And then the Bitcoin treasury side of the business, we've made the purchases we've made, but we've also got another tool in our armor. So there's capital raises and equity raises when the MNAV is at a premium and it increases Bitcoin per share for investors. And we've designed the world's first truly Bitcoin denominated convertible bond. And we've got a very good team on the board with VJ Selvum, who's ex Goldman Sachs and chief counsel at a NASDAQ listed firm. And then we've got Richard Byworth as a board advisor. Now, Richard Byworth spent a number of years over at Nomura as managing director of their convertible bonds desk. And then we have Adam Back, who I think started a lot of the Bitcoin convertible bonds, and he's preparing for his 35,000 Bitcoin NASDAQ listing this year. So we designed these, and what they do is they track, with the conversion price, tracks the changes in the Bitcoin price to ensure that existing shareholders will benefit from Bitcoin accretive raises, and we sell them at a 30% share price premium. But for the bond holders, it protects them as well, in that with them truly denominated in Bitcoin, a 12-month maturity means that their downside is very much protected, and there's a 2% charge that we put in for the bond. So 0% coupon, 12-month maturity. Bondholders could convert at any time, but it's 130% of the closing share price, so a 30% premium. And then there's a soft call. If the VWAP exceeds 120% of the conversion price for 10 days, then we can soft call the bonds. And what we want to do on behalf of shareholders, and what the bondholders want to do, is to see those bonds convert into shares and that Bitcoin to go onto our balance sheet unencumbered. But as a business, there's very, very low risk for us as a business. We effectively are borrowing the Bitcoin. They send us the Bitcoin and we repay it in shares. That's the ideal scenario. And that's at a premium, and only when it is increasing our shareholders' Bitcoin per share. So we set out with that 2026 program. We issued our first bond of 10 Bitcoin. That's been signed by key strategic investors, including Adam Back. And every one of those investors has the right to participate in our follow-on tranches. And we want to scale those as the business scales and in line with making sure that it's in the best interests of shareholders and building a foundation with a really pristine Bitcoin balance sheet to help drive operational revenue and growth. So I hope that gives you a bit of an overview of them, but they're something that people haven't seen in the market before. So you may have some questions, Zach.
Well, I think the main sort of question from that really is, obviously we had the early summer Bitcoin treasury bubble. A lot of people got their fingers burnt, and they needed companies like you came in afterwards to assure them that Bitcoin is not going to be a sort of you get involved in Bitcoin, it's not a 90% down type of thing for either the company or the share price. You did, when we spoke before, you do have a real business there. You have the recruitment business, so you've got hopefully the best of both worlds in the current environment. And I suppose from what you've said, also you've got a great team, which a lot of other companies didn't and still don't have.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and some people's first experience of Bitcoin is Bitcoin treasury companies. And those people who experienced Bitcoin for the first time in 2013, 2015 saw a lot of volatility. And it tends to be the case that this is best approached from a long-term time horizon. And I think if you look at our history as an operating business, we've had a 30% revenue compounding growth over the last 4 years. And we started our Bitcoin balance sheet in 2021 when the price was £51,000 and it drew down to £16,000. Our revenues went up throughout that period, and the amount of Bitcoin that we were buying went up because the price of Bitcoin went down. Now, as a CEO and a founder, I have a high conviction in the asset class, so I was very comfortable buying throughout that entire period. And I think when you look back, there's never been a time in Bitcoin where buying it consistently over a 4-year period has not resulted in a significant return on that investment. And that's what we plan to do. Just keep buying over the long term and keep raising the level of Bitcoin that we hold on the balance sheet, because that does actually allow the operating business to attract more revenue generating staff, bring more businesses into the group who are generating revenue. And effectively over the next 10 years, I believe with every bone of my body that saving in Bitcoin over the long term as a business will outperform saving in the British pound. So that's our strategy. And we've got plans for the future to look at, you mentioned how was coming on Aquis. We want to keep our options open. We want to build a strong balance sheet, and we will consider an uplisting at an appropriate time. We're already considering other markets overseas as well and having conversations about that. And we have big plans for the business, and I'm having some great conversations with investors around the world at the moment.
Well, on that upbeat note, Scott Ellam, CEO of Connecting Excellence, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Zach.